Welcome to this season of the Broadway Podcast, where here we give you a more real-time point of view of people who work, interact, and entertain here in Broadway, Nashville. We get the opportunity to provide hot gossip, but we also take the opportunity to provide a more positive outlook on people who call Nashville their home. Ride with us as we take you down a trip on Broadway.
This is the life we choose, life we choose. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. I've been doing just fine, alright now. This is the life we This is the life we choose.
Hi, Ralphy. Welcome to the show. Thanks
Hey.
for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
I'm excited to be
anytime.
here.
I'm glad you're here too. So I really want to kind of start off with talking about what brought you to Nashville and like your journey to Nashville from wherever you came from.
My journey to Nashville was an unexpected one. Whenever I was 17, it was really coming like time for me to move or go to school. And I needed to make sure that I went somewhere that I was able to like afford myself. So I was like, okay, what are our options, especially specifically for what I was going to school for? So I stumbled across Middle Tennessee down in Murfreesboro. And I majored in aerospace, and then I switched it, and then I switched it again. But yeah, that's really how I got to Tennessee. And then I did not enjoy my time in Murfreesboro, so I moved to Nashville.
Oh no, Murfreesboro's a little ways out there too. It's like
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit more like rural. I think like what's that the word, like country or whatever. And I kind of feel you on like the school part because like when I went to Alabama, like it was really hard for me to decide the major I wanted to do, and so
Yes.
I ended up going to school for like 5 years because like I switched majors a lot.
5 would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm about to be
Well, I
7
kinda-
while you play.
Yeah, I was like kind of pushed for time. I was like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. Because I
Yeah.
transferred, from UNA after I played basketball. Then I went to Bama. And going to school at Bama was such a like eye opener because it's such a big school and there's so many things going on. So the major, I get that part. But let's talk about this aero thing. Like aerospace, you mean?
Yeah, yes.
Oh.
Well, it's not like aerospace engineering, but it's to be a pilot. And I decided that that is not what I wanted to do. I felt like my God-given gift was to like help people, and I don't think that I was able to do that in a cockpit, at least not in the way of how I wanted to. But now as I've gotten older, I realized that people suck. So honestly, now I'm thinking about it again.
People
I'm
do
like,
kinda
oh, maybe I
suck
should go back.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So you did that, the school part. So like we're all in the industry together. So like explain to me like your transition from like going to school and like working, all that stuff. Like what did you do with that?
Yeah, so I working in the service industry, even though you know how I feel about it, but it was honestly such a blessing. It was such a good thing for me. Just because, so whenever I first started working when I was 16, I worked in retail. I worked in retail until I was like 19-ish or so. I was ready to quit this job. I was ready to go. It was just so understimulating and just not. I was just ready to go. But I didn't know what I wanted to go into. I had just moved here and was going to school. And by the grace of God, one of the very first people that I met whenever I moved here, his name's Aaron. He introduced me to a girl named Lainey. Lainey, I met her this one time, and then I hadn't seen her all the way until this night, like almost 6 months later or so. I see her again. She was like, "Oh, well, you should apply at this place that I work at. We're looking to hire people." And I was like, "Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds. I'll give it a shot. Why not?"
Was it a restaurant or?
Yes, it was. Wait, I'm not supposed to say names.
That's fine.
Okay. I was working at I was working at a bar. I was working at a bar down in Murfreesboro, and It was way different than what I was doing.
Yeah.
And whenever I first started working, I started as a server, and I was so bad at it. I mean, so bad at it.
I was terrible when I first started off too.
Oh my God. And you don't even think that it'd be that hard.
Yeah.
Like before you start the job. Cause like for me, at least I was like, I mean, like how hard is it for me to,
Serve
get
waters
an order,
and
right?
drinks.
And bring you some water. You feel me? Like, so it's like, it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Cause I told her, I was like, I've never done that before. And she was like, it's fine. You have a cool personality. You'll do great. On my first night, I cried.
Oh no.
Well, I tell you, I was bad at it.
It would literally, the restaurant industry will show you your true colors. Like it will show you what kind of person you really are.
Yes.
Because like I thought like I can take over the world, I can do whatever. And I started serving at Olive Garden actually like long time ago.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is different. I didn't know shit from nothing. Like I didn't know what to do, like how to even like I had a good personality, but like it takes more than just a personality. It takes a little bit of brain too. And I was just so lost when I was first starting off. It was terrible.
And the hardest thing is that like, regardless of what you do, you can't like write down how to do it.
Right.
You can't like, there's no like step-by-step guide you can read of like how to do it. Everyone does it differently.
Right.
Some servers are good, some are bad. So, but also it's all opinionated. Some people might not like you, or some other people might love you. So it just depended. But yeah, no, I was not good at like balancing like my time whenever it came to like, okay, I need to get this. And I was like messing things up, and I was dropping glasses. Oh my God. The amount of glasses.
Oh
God, it was so bad. So
especially when like they like clap and stuff. It's like, why? Why clap? Like this is not a good experience for me.
Shut the, no, but I, now I'll break a plate in a restaurant. I do not care.
Right. Like, I'll get it. It's fine. Right. But like I think that once you serve and like once you bartend or whatever you do in the industry, I think that it's a good way to like really build character too. I feel like I'm a better person for it because it's allowed me to be able to build a character and also patience, because I had zero patience at first.
Yeah.
And like I think, like I said earlier, like I think it just really brings out like who you really are as a person. Like you find out about yourself in the industry. It's like, are you a good person? Are you a bad person? Like, do you have like anxiety issues? Do you have stress related issues? And I kind of want to talk about that too, because like working in such a high volume area in Broadway, it's like the stress level is insane, especially when we're like busy. I know you work on Broadway too. And how was that for you? Like your experience as far as like balancing your time and then like actually like getting like, your like levels of like stress, because like just walking into work when it's like really busy outside and all these people are out there and you're like, damn man, I gotta deal with this shit when I go in, and like it stresses you out even before you even start working,
Right.
So like tell me about that. Like how was your experience with that as far as like like your overall like mental health?
My overall mental health, like I said, I think the service industry was definitely a blessing, just because it brought me the money that I needed in a flexible with a flexible schedule in a short amount of time. And that is definitely what I needed at that area of my life. And there's plenty of people that do fantastic in the service industry. I think that I did well, and I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I got. But in terms of my mental health, like I said, with that gift earlier of helping people, I love to help people. That's what I want to eventually one day do in some kind of shape or fashion. But whenever you talk to so many people in such an overstimulating environment, for me, for a lot of people, they're able to handle it well. They make their good money and they go. For me personally, I have become far more anxious and I hate crowds now. You know me. If you have seen me,
yes,
you see a crowd, I'm like, oh, my back's getting tight. Like,
and it's crazy because you have such a big personality, and like I said, it really shows. It brings out who you potentially are as a person, because like you are such a like high energy, like the spirit is always there, like you're such like a positive person, and it really kind of like sucks to see you struggle like that sometimes. I'm like, what, why? Because like even like sometimes I'm like, why is he acting like they're about to bite his head off? Like it's okay, like but like it really, and like you kind of taught me like like it's not easy for everybody. Like for me, like I don't do well in big crowds when I try to. But like I'm at work, I feel like I'm at home. Like I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And like it's really easy. And I kind of like, kind of bounce off of you. I'm like, okay, well, I get how it can be stressful. And I think people forget that, we're working at a tourist area where like people are coming into town and they want to have fun. But it's also like, this is like the real life behind the scenes. Like we are like dealing with so much at one time, and so many personalities and so many like different
things is like have a little bit more. That's why this show is so important, because like have a little bit more of understanding. You know, when you walk into these places, like you go to like big places like New Orleans, stuff like that, and like you go to these big time places, and people forget that those are human beings behind the bar and not just robots.
Right.
And the stress level is there, man. So like, what do you do as far as like outside of work to like deal or like cope with those kind of like stress related, you know, job experiences?
And this is actually ended up being like one of my biggest problems, eventually leading me to leave the service industry. But for fun, I get as far, I mean, as far as I can away from these people.
Yes, man, yes.
I go for as many hikes as I possibly can. I'm also a runner. So running has helped me a lot. Being in the sun, I don't know why people say that the sun's bad for you. I mean, I guess like in excess, like, yeah, but the sun's not bad for you. The sun is good for you. So I go in the sun all the time. And I try to make sure that I maintain healthy friendsps and healthy relationships.
That is a whole nother topic, baby.
Yes.
We'll get to that too, actually, because that's very important. I want to talk about. I think I relate to you as far as like going out on hikes. So, and actually, we're out running with you before too. You got me in the running now. So like, that's a very good, healthy way to like deal with the stress. Because I think some people like have a bad way of dealing with stress too. And I can relate to that too, because I would go out all the time. When I first moved here, I was going out, baby. And I still I'm still in the streets a little bit. But people like you and people that I've met in the industry that actually have like these healthy like ways of like dealing with stuff, I've used that to my advantage too. So I think it is very important to like have a balance when it comes to like having a social life and also having like a very healthy mental and physical life as well. Eating right, stuff like that. I think we all kind of attest to that. Like we kind of like stem off each other. Like I've just even noticed at work, a lot of people are like going out to the gyms and stuff together, and like, you know, and building like friendships and stuff that way too, which I love seeing that.
Right.
Because we can get caught up in the scene and like we go, oh, this bar and that bar and this bar and this restaurant. And I think it's very healthy that you and myself and others are actually taking the time out to like, you know, take care of themselves, because this industry can wear you down.
Yes.
Physically wear you down.
I learned the hard way whenever I first moved to Tennessee. I drank. Oh my God.
I'm surprised I have a liver still, to be honest.
Okay. I drank so much and I ate so poorly and I did not exercise at all. I gained 50 pounds. And I was at a very, very, very low point. And one day, if I took even just like a sip of alcohol, I would get sick. So then I stopped drinking entirely, cold turkey, for like 9 months, 10 months. And then I started working out, and, you know, life did its thing. And finally I landed back on my feet. But yeah, no, there for a minute, I learned the hard way of where I was like, oh yeah, no, I can drink all these things. Like I'm young, like I'm fine. Like I'll be okay. But my freshman 15 turned into a freshman 50 in like 6 months. So I was like, okay.
And I was so proud of you too, man, because like I saw how much weight you lost, because I kind of like went like going through like your Instagram stuff like that. And I was like, damn, he was like not the same person. I was like, who ate Ralphie? Like, no offense, like I love you, but I was like, who ate Ralphie? Because this is not the same person sitting before me right now. You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
And I'm very proud of you. I'm glad that you have. Because it takes a lot of courage to like leave the industry too, because like it's so easy to like get caught up in it because of like how lucrative it can be and how fun it can be. You know, like we live in Nashville, we work in the most vibrant areas of Nashville, and that can become overstimulating, like you said, and it can also become corrupt. And you said friendships, having really important friendships is very, very important. I had a podcast with Alexis, we talked about it, and I think that I have came to a point now where I do have people around that are the people I need to have around. And it's very hard to like make that transition when you're such a socialite like myself and you just think that everybody needs to be in your life, and that's not the case. Especially for a place like Nashville where everybody's like not from here, everybody's tourists and everybody's like not local. So they have like this mentality that being popular socially is like the thing to do. And it's really not, you know, like having a very core group of people is very important. Tell me about your experiences with that, because I think you're part of my circle and it is very important to have that circle. So tell me a little bit about like your experiences with like good friendships, bad friendships, and how that related to your work life.
Yes. Everyone has heard like you become who you surround yourself with. Your relationships are very, very, very important. During each struggle that I had throughout my life who had my back were my friends, were my family. It was the people that, those are the people that are going to take care of you. So I've been noticing recently that, and I've been hearing this a lot too, that the U.S. has an epidemic of loneliness, where we can compare it to Dominican Republic. Yeah. So whenever you go to DR, you notice a sense of community. People are outside, they're loud, they're talking, all of that. The music's playing. Yes, the music's playing, like because there's community. Yeah. It's almost like in the U.S. we've been, and COVID I'm sure has a play to do with this, but we have become so secluded that I think people are becoming really sad because community is a very important thing to remain happy. And you don't need a lot of people, but you do need somebody, something. I have a dog. I don't know. So I'm very thankful now that I've taken care of these relationships well. And like you said, not everyone's for everyone, and that's okay. Yeah. That's perfectly fine.
I like how you said taking care of these relationships because you do have to take care. Of the relationships. Right. You have to feed them, water them. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to. I mean, you have to talk to the person. Like, we're all busy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be a gabillion people. Like, we don't have the time. I get that. But at least have like your good inner circle, because at the end of the day, those are the people that are going to have your back. Those are the people that are going to love you unconditionally. So I'm very thankful for this. Also, I wanted to touch on something really quickly. I think that I became really anxious working in the service industry because I'm a very spiritual person, as you know. I think that every person has an energy to them, and sometimes it's not a good one necessarily. So talking to so many people that have not exactly
good energy,
right?
You can feel it on people too. It's
you can feel
it vibrates
right?
off of them.
Yeah, like having those vibrations like around you. And so many of them, and then like this thumping music, you're losing your voice. You got to yell at these folks. They're drunk. They're rude. It's like, okay, I'm ready to.
No, I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up. So yes, but I wanted to touch on that. Sorry, I know
it's part of it too though, because like you do your spiritual thing. You got me buying rocks and stuff now. Like Lord, you had taking me to the holistic shops. I'm like, what am I doing? Saging my damn apartment. And like now, like I haven't saged my apartment yet, and I just moved into my new apartment. And I have the, what's it called that we got? I still got those, and I haven't saged my house yet. And I slept in the apartment for the first night, and I'm like, I can still feel the people that used to live here. Yep. And like I never really thought about that until you got me like thinking about that. Yeah. And I think we're both Scorpios, so that energy is already there. And it's like, man, that's a real thing, because like I always believed in like energies from people. Like as I got older, you can kind of feel you already know you're gonna be friends with somebody before it even happens, because you feel that vibration. Like when I first started working at the bar I work at now, there's a guy named James that I met, and he now manages, which I'm so proud of him. And he was my first friend at the bar. And I just knew instantly I was going to click with him, because he is the biggest personality I've met in Nashville. And he's always fun. He's always energetic. And we were in the break room, and we were like I was like training. I think he trained me the first day or whatever. I think he wanted to train me. And I love that eagerness too. Like I was like, this guy like loves his job. And that's a good thing, because I worked at places where people hated their jobs, and it showed. And like he just looked like he loved what he was doing. And he trained me, and I'm like, his energy is just amazing. And like we ended up being like the best of friends. And then I met you, and I met some other people. But the energy thing is definitely a thing. And like I think having like really important people in your life that you can call on when like not things are always great. That's where you really can see who your real friends are. You've had some bad experiences, I'm sure, at work. Do you think that like relationships at work are important, or do you just think that just going to work and just like, working and going home is essential too?
No, I believe very, 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 very strongly that you have to, I'm not saying that you have to be buddy and hang out outside of work, but I think that you should be able to get along well with most people at your job, because especially if you're working as a team on something. If you are doing like your own work and someone else is, whatever. And like I said, not everybody's for everyone. Yeah. There's plenty of people that I'm sure that I've worked with that wouldn't want to hang out with me outside of work, and vice versa. And that's okay. Yeah. But I do think that you should get along well enough that you should be able to work as a team. I will say, although, that at both my last bar and this bar, I have made amazing, amazing friends. Yeah. And I'm very thankful for those people. Those people, they take good care of me. So, like I said, not everyone's for everybody, but I do think that you should have like be like pretty cool with,
Yeah,
who you
for
work with.
sure.
Y'all are working, as a team. They're doing their job too. They're stressed out. You're stressed out.
Yeah.
It'd
You
be
kind of
better.
share the same experiences. So why not have like
Right.
something to relate to? Oh, excuse me.
There you go.
I think that working in the industry we work in, excuse me, working in the industry we work in, I think that we sometimes struggle with the friendships at work versus outside of relationships of the same people. And do you think, and I'm curious because like Nashville's very kind of the same, like everywhere. Like you don't really see a lot of like diversity as much as you would like want to sometimes. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but it also can sometimes stem into like how you feel going to work. I think me personally, I can say that because Broadway is Broadway, it's the country life, like the honky tonk, vibe. And I love it. I don't have anything like negative to say about the vibe. Or I think that sometimes going to work can be a little disheartening. It's like, well, cause nobody like really looks like me, and like, also being gay and then also being black is like a thing. So it's like, I don't feel like I've been like shunned. I feel like I've been very accepted, but like internally that's a battle. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. But I think that it's now after some time, I've concluded that I believe that it is an internal thing. I think that exactly of whatever it is that you believe. So me, also brown, obviously, also gay, obviously.
Obviously, just kidding.
Obviously, what do you mean?
Are you sure about that?
15-year-old me, like, I'm straight. Like, yeah, all right.
Oh my God, imagine if we went back in time and like we acted like we did back then now and just like try to hide who we were. I would lose my shit. Like it was such a hard, anyways.
Go crawl back in the closet.
Right.
No,
like
baby.
sometimes I feel like I have, do you feel like you have to at work sometimes? Like
I have to,
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's actually
exact-
what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
It is an internal thing. I think that if you believe in your soul, me as a brown gay person, me going to Broadway, let's say I believe in my soul, I'm going to find people that are racist, that are rude, that are not accepting, that are this, that, and, well, baby, that's probably exactly what you're going to find.
Exactly.
So I think that you have to go into it, not putting yourself at a disadvantage automatically, assuming like, these folks aren't gonna, and don't get me wrong, there are plenty that won't.
Yeah. But don't go
there
out
are
looking.
plenty
Yeah,
that
exactly,
won't.
yeah.
But I'm not going to go in putting myself at a halfway, assuming like, oh, I can't be myself here because none of these people look like me and they don't sound like me and they don't dress like me and I'm just different. Well, I think there's power in our differences.
Yeah, for
not
sure.
everybody's going to see that, and that's okay. Like I said, not everyone's for everyone. But if people were to be quiet and stop with their opinions for 1 second, whether if you're on the left, you're on the right, you're up, you're down, you're sideways, wherever it is, a lot of people can actually get along.
Yeah,
if they would just put those differences aside and talk to one another. It's like, you know what, you're actually kind of cool. Because I can't count how many times that whenever I moved to Murfreesboro, the amount of guys that I met that are like, I've never met someone that's gay. I'm like, I'm sure you have. You probably just didn't know they were gay. Or I've never had like a gay friend. I'm thankful for you after time. In the beginning, they were like, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
I do not want to be your friend. I'm like, that's fine, baby. I don't want to be yours either. so now what? But as time went by and we were able to put those differences aside, then we were able to realize like, we're not that different.
Yeah.
We have things that are different about us. Yes. Yeah. Everyone's different and everyone's also exactly the same. So, I mean, I think that if you go into it with an open mind and an open heart and try your best and keep the negative ones out of your ears and look at the positive ones, it's always going to be just what you make of it. So
I love that. I totally agree because when you come into it, like thinking like that, you already lost. Right.
Yes.
And I can't count how many surprises I've had. I'm like, wow, these people are like, I would have never thought in a million years, like this person like loves me, like they love me. And I thank God for that. And I think it has something to do with like our personalities. Like we've grown a lot from those differences and we've adjusted to being okay with it. And I think once you show your truth, like people like gravitate towards that more than you trying to hide who you really are. Yes. And that's what I was saying. Like, do you think that you have to like kind of hide? But like, no, I feel like I have to hide because I've lived my best life out in the open. Yeah. And I think that the people I've met friendship-wise also is because I am who I am, because I'm out in the open. And what you see is what you get. And the right people come to that. If you're a person that tries to hide who you really are, whether it's sexually or whether it's whatever, you're going to gravitate towards people who are doing the same thing, and that friendship is not going to be worth anything. Mm-hmm. So I do agree with you on that. It just sometimes sucks like when you think that it goes away, and then you kind of like, it happens to you. It's like, man, I thought this was like something that was over, but like anybody goes to that. Anybody goes through that, you know, white, black, or other. Everybody goes through their own struggles, and you just can't really like put one struggle over the other. Like we all have to just kind of like grow from our experiences, and I really appreciate the experience that we've all had to make it a positive one. So I just kind of want to touch on that because I was talking to Alexis last week or a couple weeks ago about friendships and stuff like that and how important it was. And she, you know, we kind of agreed on it. Like you gravitate towards like-minded people. And I think Nashville has some of the best people that come here, you know, are from all over the world. And we get to see that. And that's like a blessing in disguise too. Like just being able to like interact with different people and different like outlooks of life. Like people from all over the world come here. And I've learned a lot working in the industry, and I'm really, really happy about that. Can you relate to like positively like meeting people and like your experience at work? Like, give me some examples of like how you've just like seen yourself grow.
You know, okay. I was thinking about this today in the shower. So the quarter life crisis right now is going crazy. I tell you what.
Oh man.
So I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking. I've just been thinking a lot about like my past and like a lot of things I regret more specifically. And you ever just like look back and you're like, why did I do that? And
like, why the hell was I like that?
Yeah, it's like, oh my.
I was a rat back in the day, man. I'm a rat now still, but like I was a rodent back in the day. Oh my
God. But then also I think, you know, maybe in the future I'm probably gonna like that's gonna happen probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But whenever I first went in, I was 19, you know. I think that working in bars matures you. You know, especially depending on the kind of bar that you work in, you might talk to like a lot of older people and that kind of thing. So I think that it definitely made me grow up a lot. But also, you know, I was just getting older in general. You know, I moved to a different state. I was seeing life a little bit differently, especially like on such opposite ends because I grew up, as you know, in Atlanta, and then I moved here, which is so different.
Polar opposite.
So different.
Literally black and white.
Literally so different. No. So I got here.
No pun intended.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, man, where am I at?
Grab your cowboy boots. Let's go.
See, because
we're going to Murfreesboro, Mom.
Well, I'll never forget this one time. Whenever the very, very, very first time I ever went to Murfreesboro, I was with my partner at the time and my best friend at the time, and her name's Maggie. She's sitting in the back seat, and we just did this like 4-hour drive. I had a really small car at the time, so we're like tightly packed into this car, even though it was just 3 of us. We get there, we pull off, and we're like listening to music, and we're listening, and we're like looking around, and we're like just entering like Murfreesboro, like on the interstate, and I'm like, all right, you know, all right. And we get off the exit, and my friend Maddie said, we're all just quiet, looking around. No one's saying anything now. We have now been off the exit for about 2 minutes and not one word has been said. And this is where I'm moving to. And we're just, and she said, I mean, it's cute. I was like, girl, damn it. I said, oh no, this is where I'm moving to. But yeah, I think.
Are you happy you moved from Murfreesboro to Nashville though?
Yes.
What made you move? Like what, like, I mean, obviously what made you move, but like what like really triggered you? Like, all right, I'm moving to Nashville.
I guess I just like really, I wanted to move to a city that was, okay, wait, I'm sorry. Do you mean coming from Atlanta or do you mean
like when you went to Murfreesboro,
to,
like what just like clicked? Like I gotta get out of here. I gotta go to Nashville.
Oh my God. What didn't click? There was first and foremost, not much to do. They are now starting to expand a lot more, which, you know, good for them. But whenever I first moved there, not much to do other than drink. And then, you know, obviously COVID happened and that kind of thing. The people weren't, some of the people that I surrounded myself with were not a good decision on my part. Mm-hmm. Surrounding myself with people, kind of like what you were saying, I wasn't living to my full truth. Yeah. And I was surrounding myself with people that didn't like me, even knowing my truth. And having those problems and nothing to do, and just like the culture being completely different. Mm-hmm. I just didn't, I was like, I need to move somewhere out of here because I just wasn't having a good time. But I still wanted to be able to go to school there. So yeah, that's why I picked maybe Nashville so I could have, you know, something a little bit closer to like what I'm used to. And not living there.
Literally. So do you like
been.
Nashville, and do you think you're going to be here for a little bit, or how do you feel about that? Because I think Alexis was even saying, she was like, I don't know if I'm going to stay here. Because like, I think you get kind of like the new car smell runs out and you're like, all right, I'm over the same old.
Yes.
Because it is like a vibrant city, but it's the same thing. Like it's nothing. And I challenge Nashville to do this. Like, give us something else. Like, yeah, I love the bars. I love that you guys are opening up these nice bars and these the great artists that, you know, the names on it. I love it. But give us something else, baby. Like, can I go to like a Baton Rouge? Just something. Like, just give me something different. Cause like I'm not like running out of energy of Nashville, but like it can be tiring, you know, like, and I was asking, like, do you think you're going to stay here? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Personally, the city is not for me. Whenever I moved from Georgia, I was, I guess, like running away from like problems in my own head. And I guess I thought moving was going to like solve those problems, and it didn't. So I do want to say, just to clarify, that regardless of wherever it is that you move to, it is up to you if you are going to be happy.
All right, for sure.
And I think I thought by like moving to a different city, like all these problems were going to go away. And then I actually just got more problems. And I was like, okay, well, that didn't work. So I will say though, now after adjusting my mindset some, I am enjoying Nashville more, most definitely. But yes, no, it's personally not for me.
Yeah.
It's maybe I just need a bigger city. It's personally not for me. I think that Nashville is one thing whenever you're visiting and one thing whenever you live here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the amount of tourism in our downtown areas, I mean, like obviously it's good for the city, but like for the people that like live here, it's like, oh my God, can y'all go home? For
oh my
just,
God,
like,
yes.
1
I get
week?
the locals like now saying like, oh, you're not from Nashville. Like that kind of like eye roll at us. I get it now. Cause like, I'm the same way. I go to work. I'm like having to battle to get to the door because people are just walking sideways, up and down, left and right. And I'm like, come on, man. Like you have no directional skills, like to like get out the way for people. Like it's just such a massacre downtown sometimes.
Right. And you also have to remember, you know, what the sorry, I lost my train of thought. Nashville's not meant to hold a lot of people like that. Like New York City has a lot of people, but New York City was designed for a lot of people. With Nashville having so many people coming to visit that do not live here, it's congested. It's just really congested just about everywhere. But also you gotta remember, these are tourists. They're here to get drunk. They're here to we're gonna come fuck up the city and leave. Right. So you gotta remember, like it's not like a lot of people that live here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that are visiting in a very concentrated area.
Exactly.
And then it just
So what's the next move for you?
I'm thinking that I want to keep moving, just live in different places. So I think that I would love to live in New Orleans. I would love to move to a city in Texas, maybe like Dallas or Austin. No, I feel like Austin would be like Nashville. I feel like it's gonna stress me out. San Diego sounds like decent. Also some places in like Colorado, but also it's cold, and I'm not good with cold because I'm from the South.
Just somewhere warm.
I need to move out though of like the country.
Well, wherever you go, let me know so I can come visit. Hopefully it's by the beach. And I really appreciate, you coming out to the show and like giving me a little bit more insight of like how things are for you. And I'm proud of whatever you do. Thanks. And I'm really happy to have you in my life. And hopefully whatever you decide to do next like works out.
Yes, hopefully. All we can do is hope, right? Yes. Well, thank you for having me.
No problem, man. I love you.
I love
thank
you. So much. Oh, you. Excellent. Do we do like a high five like Oprah does? Excellent.
You get a car. Thanks again, man.
Thank you.
This is the life we choose. Life we choose. And honestly, I wouldn't want it